Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be doing my theories for the Miraculous movie. But before we start, I don't know if there really are any leaks for it, but if there are, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't say anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Now, you're probably wondering, Hayes, most of us aren't seeing the movie until the end of July. Yes, you are correct, I know. However, most of you know that I'm super lucky to be getting to see it tomorrow at the preview in Paris. So I can't really make theory videos about the film after I've seen it, you know? So today really is my last day to do this, but I just want to say that, oh boy, we do have a lot of screenshots for this, so I will try my best to incorporate them all, but I make no promises. Like, we have a lot, and they also all vary in image quality. Some are great quality, they're taken from a trailer. Some aren't so great depending on like how they were released, so apologies in advance. Now for the structure of this video we are going to be using this. At the start of last month they released the preview of the opening of the book of the movie in French, and it provided us with the opening of the movie as well as chapter headings, so we are going to use that as our guideline for this video. So basically in this video I'm going to try and work out which screenshots belong in which chapter and try to put together, you know, the story of the movie, the plot from that, and then we'll end with some speculating about the love square and how it might be presented in the film. I also want to remind everyone that this is Jeremy's retelling of events, so while I am expecting there to be some similarities, I know the movie isn't going to be exactly the same, so keep that in mind when you comment. But before that, as always, let's read the synopsis first. Now, we have received several synopses for this. Is that the plural word for it?
I don't know.
So, defying all laws of qualitative data, I'm going to try and combine them and find the average synopsis. What has my life become? So, Marinette Dupencheng is an idiot who falls on her own face every 5 seconds, including in front of her crush Adrian. But her clumsiness is tested when she breaks into someone's house and steals a pair of earrings and becomes Ladybug. Why her of all people? No idea. She must work with Cat Noir, who is in love with her, and who is also Adrian, but she doesn't know that, to fight Hawk Daddy, who is Adrian's dad, which she also doesn't know, which is great. As Adrian and Marinette, or Ladybug and Cat Noir, or whatever other side of the love square start to fall deeper for each other, they must keep their identities a secret whilst also trying to take down Hawk Daddy and save Paris. From the ghastly catacombs of Paris to the dazzling heights of Notre Dame, it is ultimately love that sweeps them on an unforgettable journey. Wow, that last line was cringe as heck.
I just cringed saying that.
So now let's get into the prologue. So this wasn't included in the book, but I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. In Origins we learn about the Miraculous from Nuru, and I think the same will be done here, but we will be told it by Master Fu instead, and we will get a little sneak peek of the Miracle Box. I think he will then remove and separate the Ladybug and Cat Miraculous, ready to give it to the new heroes and also to keep them safe from evil, which again I think it's like in Origins, Master Fu or Ways, which is assuming Master Fu is using Ways or just wearing a Miraculous in general. We haven't seen any evidence of that, but either way, he senses that the Butterfly Miraculous has arrived in the city. So now let's talk about the first chapter, Coup de chance or Strokes of Luck. Now, most of this was revealed to us in the opening of the book. I'm not going to be showing the pages here, but I will link above you the video that shows the pages that I made. So it starts with Marinette being late for school, what's new, and she's pretty worried. The book talks about how she has no real friends, which is a pretty big divergence because Marinette does seem quite popular at school in the show despite her clumsiness. Her mum tells her to listen to her heart and believe in herself, which I think is going to be a recurring theme throughout the movie. So Marinette goes to school, and I'm not sure if this is the bakery. In the show, this is where the bakery is, right across the road from school. These red awning things makes it look like a business rather than just a house, but I'm not really sure. However, Marinette does have circular windows in her room, which we can see from the outside here, and the shape of the room looks like it could be the top floor here. We know she has a balcony though, so maybe it's around the back instead of the front. So as Marinette approaches school, she bumps into someone. She's clearly very nervous. The rest of the class are there. Alex is on her rollerblades and she's racing Nino on a skateboard. They bump into Nathaniel, and then Nino bumps into Marinette, who bumps into Chloe, which spills a singular drop of coffee onto her aggressed jumper.
To me, this situation is a blood-soaked, nightmarish hellscape.
I think Marinette will apologise, but you know, this is Chloe. She'll be pretty annoyed, and then like in the show, Alia will step up and defend Marinette. Alia is new to the school, and despite hearing about the complete and utter disaster Marinette is, she wants to be friends with her. They spend the day together, and after Marinette's awful recorder playing that probably burst some eardrums and killed at least one person in science class, Alia is like, this girl? A murderer? No, best friend material. She's having the time of her life. So towards the end of the day, Marinette is at the lockers and Chloe is like, hey, let's braid each other's hair so I can strangle you. That's not a joke, that's what it says, because this film is for children apparently. So Marinette runs to the library to get away from Chloe, bumps into more people and tries to calm herself down. However, through a gap in the bookshelf, she sees a boy that she's never met before. And it's Adrien.
Obviously.
Now, I'm not sure if Adrien is new to the school like in the show. There is someone sat next to Nino here, since you can see there's another pencil case, but it says Marinette has never met Adrien prior to this, so I'm not sure. Luca attends school here in the film, so maybe he sits there instead. So Adrien sees Marinette too and asks if she's okay. She says yes, and he goes back to doing what he was before. She comes around to the other side of the shelf and tries to very casually watch him while leaning on this cart, but she ends up falling over, and Adrien is like, are you really sure you're okay? And again she says yes, and this is the scene in which she falls for him, both literally and figuratively. So that's pretty much where the book preview ends, but we did get some more showing that the next scene is of Gabriel babes, I would assume at the Louvre, with someone saying they've just received the butterfly Miraculous. I would assume Gabe has paid for it and he takes it home, and I think we possibly see him transform for the first time here. Although his lair is very, very different. So in the show we have the murder basement, which is quite cold and sterile, but Emily's like, I don't know, shrine is a lot prettier in the movie. But then his actual like lair seems to be in like a cave. The synopsis does mention the catacombs, and of course now Lila is also using them in the show as her base of operations, so I think it's possible, but how Gabriel gets to and from them, like between his house, you know, without being seen, no idea. So he transforms, and assuming this is for the first time, it looks pretty painful. So now chapter 2, Qui sauve une vie sauve le monde, or who saves a life saves the world. So I think it directly continues with Gabriel babes leaving his lair or going to see Emily, which I think is still accessed through the portraits, and when he's done, Adrien and Natalie are there waiting for him. Now there is a heading here that says Gabriel denies Adrien. It seems Gabriel is quite freely already allowing Adrien to go to school, so perhaps Adrien asks for more freedom, which is what Gabriel denies, and Adrien goes to his room feeling sad. I think then Natalie tries to say something to Gabriel, but you know, he won't listen to her. Back in his room, I think Adrien finds the Miraculous in his bag, much like in Origins, but how or why it's come into his possession, I'm not really sure right now. It seems like Master Fu doesn't make a reappearance until later on. Meanwhile, Marinette is only just leaving school, perhaps Adrien left earlier for modelling, assuming he does that in the movie because I don't know, and outside the school Chloe goes for Marinette again. I would assume Alia has already gone, and like I said, it seems Marinette doesn't really have any other friends, so defenceless, she runs off, instead of going home, which is right next to the school, you know what I mean? That's why I'm not sure if she actually lives opposite the school in the film. But you know, this is also Marinette, she lacks basic common sense. She ends up here, down an alleyway, although I'm not sure how far she goes exactly, and Chloe and Sabrina eventually give up and leave her alone. The door Marinette is leaning against opens behind her, and instead of leaving immediately, she's like, oh, I'll just stay. Movie Marinette is insane. It kind of looks like an abandoned shop, and after interacting with a ladybug, it seems like she follows this light to the dresser in the middle of the room. The floor beneath it lights up, showing the pattern from the top of the miracle box, and on the floor she finds the earrings and puts them straight in, like at least wash them first, you don't know where they've been. And then Marinette meets Tiki. She does the usual speech about being Ladybug and how much stress will be on Marinette for the rest of her life, and after a quick scream, Marinette transforms. The yo-yo, which looks absolutely beautiful, also seems kind of like sentient, and before Marinette can de-transform and change her mind, it yeets her out of the house through the chimney and leads her towards Cat Noir.
It's not like you can stop me.
Chapter 3 is called Deux moitiés, or Two Halves, and I think it's going to open with a bit of public vandalism, and by that I mean Ladybug is going to crash into Cat Noir and smash a load of stained glass. Like, do you two know how expensive stained glass is? I sure hope the Miraculous Ladybug works the same in the movie as it does in the show. So while they're hanging out together...
It's not funny!
Sorry. I think Hawk Daddy is gonna... Well, I want to say he's going to akumatize the gargoyle, but I don't know if that's possible. I know he akumatizes Markov in the show, but Markov is largely sentient, to be fair. But again, maybe his akumas just work differently in the movie. He can akumatize objects, basically. I don't know. However, there is a possibility it may not be his Akuma, it could be due to one of these other villains in the movie. So Ladybug and Cat Noir manage to get down. He calls her a watermelon and thinks he's better than her, and to prove it, he sticks his baton up the gargoyle's nose. The gargoyle attacks them, and Cat Noir manages to get on it somehow, because he lives for danger apparently, and Ladybug manages to bring the gargoyle to ground level, or rather water level, by making it into a jet ski that tries to drown Cat Noir, but he seems like he's okay. I think the gargoyle somehow manages to throw Cat Noir off him and goes to attack the metro, and Ladybug and Cat Noir stay above ground and wait for the train to make its appearance, and Ladybug tries her best to follow it. However, Cat Noir has apparently never seen a train before, and Ladybug has to save him from getting run over by the train, and I think this could be the moment where he falls in love with her. Oh, and she bumps into her parents on the way, and realises she'll be late for dinner. Amazing. They somehow win, but I think it's very messy, you know, like Marinette doesn't seem to have a full grasp on her powers just yet, which, you know, no surprise, I wouldn't either, and perhaps they get a talking to from the police. However, Master Fu is there watching them, and he's like, basically, it's going to get worse, and you two need to become a much stronger team, so you need to train together, which I think Cat Noir would totally be up for, but I bet Ladybug is like, dear God, no, anyone but him.
I hate that guy.
At the same time, I think Gabriel Babes is back in his lair, and I think for him this was like a test run, and in the meantime he's been gathering his villain. Now in the show he can't usually akumatize more than one person at once unless they're connected, like in Gang of Secrets, or it's something special like when he's Scarlet Daddy. But the movie is meant to be quite different, so perhaps this is one of the different aspects to it, and they all seem to be having a party because why not?
Why not?
And this scene is also kind of another reason why I'm unsure if his like evil lair is in his house or in the catacombs or maybe somewhere different entirely. I truly don't know. So now, chapter 4, Une mission pour Marinette, or a mission for Marinette, and I think this is one of the parts we have the least amount of screenshots for. However, I think Marinette goes back home in time for dinner after bumping into her parents, and then back in her room, Tiki raps to her about how awesome Marinette is. Honestly, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy that part of the film.
I am sorry.
And at the same time, I'm not so sure Cat Noir has gone home. I think he's gone for a walk in the clouds and to sing a solo about either Ladybug or how much he loves his freedom, or why not both. However, this mission for Marinette, I think, is her basically asking Adrien out. If you all remember this clip.
Hey, Marinette.
I've been thinking about the dog, and I thought maybe you'd like...
Marinette is asking Adrien to the ball that they all get dressed up for, and I'm assuming it's announced towards the start of the film, so knowing Marinette and how much importance she puts on Adrien, it will be like a mission for her to ask him out, and will have nothing to do with being Ladybug. But before that, I think she'll get some advice from her new bestie Alia about what to do. It'll start at school, but before they can get any further than that, Chloe will confront Marinette, Alia will save her, and they will carry on walking. That evening, I think Ladybug will go for some teamwork training with Cat Noir, which Ladybug seems to actively hate, but they eventually get it together, and I think they end up singing a duet together. Not like a love song, just like a song about working together and being a team. At the time of recording this, I think this could be the song Stronger Together, but it hasn't actually been released when I am recording this, but it will be out by the time you see this video. So please check the pinned comment and I will tell you if I still think it is that when I've listened to the lyrics. If not, I will tell you where else I think it goes instead. So back at home, Marinette sings a solo, like she's not sure if she can do this, being Ladybug and retaining a normal life, but I think she hypes herself up enough to ask Adrien to the ball the next day at school. I think he's going to say yes, to be honest, but it will be like a reluctant yes. He's head over heels in love with Ladybug by this point, but he also seems very aware that she doesn't see him like that, and I think this could bring on the wall between us. After it ends, Adrien talks to Nino, and Nino suggests that in order to get to know Marinette better, they go to the fairground amusement park thing. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Then we move on to chapter 5, Plus fort ensemble, or Stronger Together, and I think this takes place on this like double date where Adrien, Marinette, Alia and Nino go to the fair, although I must say I am not confident if Alia and Nino are dating in the movie. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not because I don't ship them, I just haven't seen really any evidence of the two of them interacting very much, and I also, like, this movie's jam-packed, I don't think there's going to be much time for it either. So I think first, before they head to the fair, they have a picnic first, where Tiki, Beth's wingman, tries to get Adrian and Marinette to hold hands. I think in the meantime, it's the villain's time to shine. So we're gonna have the croissant man wreaking havoc down the street. I'm not gonna lie, I know I should be scared of him, but I just want him to give me a hug, and to be honest, I love him. This is my new husband, everyone.
It is an absolute honor to meet you.
And then we have the mime and the magician, that's what I'm going to call them, seemingly breaking into what I would say is a bank, but I'm not sure on that. The magician's power seems to be like levitation, or maybe more specifically something like to do with metal, lifting metallic objects. Here she just seems to be lifting the cars and not the people. I know that person is in the air, but I think they're falling out of the car rather than being lifted up. But I'm not so sure on that. And I think the mime is the same as in the episode of the mime. His mimes are, brought to life, but I'm also unsure if this mime is also Milen's dad. So the mime and the magician decides to go to the fair thing, but the kids are having a nice time before they show up, and Adrian and Marinette seem to be getting on pretty well, and I don't know if they're aware that Tom came to the fair too, or if he's genuinely hiding, but either way, he looks confused. Me too, mate. Alia and Nino seem to think there's something going on between Adrian and Marinette, and they both deny it, but before it can go any further, the mime starts blowing things up, and Marinette almost gets injured, I would assume, while trying to find a safe place to transform. So she and Cat Noir show up, and they're like, let's do this, they pound it, and then Cat Noir throws her in the air like she's pizza dough at an Italian restaurant. Why he does this, no idea. She has a yo-yo, she can do it to herself, but alrighty then. I think then Cat Noir goes to fight the mime, and he's like, come on mate, this looks like a scene from McDonald's in town at 1 AM, and Ladybug goes for the magician. The magician seems to use her power on what I think is like a castle, a haunted house attraction thing at the fairground, and the fight leads to the roller coaster where the magician uses her power again and it hits Ladybug. At the same time, the balloon monster, I don't know, makes their way over to the action, and honestly, I'm not sure what their power is other than being a massive inconvenience, and they set the wheel rolling with Chloe and Sabrina inside it. By this point, Ladybug is like, yikes, that's not good, and she joins Cat Noir on top of the wheel to take on the mime, possibly while it's moving, which will be fun. He seems like he was struggling alone, but when Ladybug arrives, they seem to get the upper hand and their teamwork really gets better. Oh, and for some reason, because she's a drama queen, Chloe manages to fall out of the capsule. How, Chloe? Unfortunately, no, I'm kidding, Ladybug rescues her, and somehow Ladybug and Cat Noir manage to stop the wheel at the Louvre before it can hurt anyone or destroy the art gallery. They pound it, and Alia loses her goddamn mind and probably starts the Ladyblog at this point if she hasn't done so already. Of course, this is assuming the movie Alia also wants to be a journalist, because I have no idea. Although I am unsure if they actually defeat anyone in this fight, to be honest. Like, it seems like they win, but I'm not sure how much of a victory it truly is. I think this section ends back at home with a very tired Marinette napping at her desk, with Tiki watching over her and Tom coming to check on her. Perhaps he's a little suspicious about where she ended up during the whole fight, but I doubt he will find out she's Ladybug in the movie, but that's just my own personal opinion. We now have chapter 6, a cœur overt, or an open heart, and to be honest, for this chapter and the final chapter, I don't think we have a lot of images, but we can still make some theories. So I think Cat Noir invites Ladybug to this place, this venue. I'm not sure where it is exactly, but I kind of think the school, since it looks like a play is being put on, and the school does look pretty different in the film compared to the show. I think they talk for a bit about how the fight at the fair went yesterday, but that they still need to defeat Hawk Daddy. Cat Noir being Cat Noir will be like, oh, forget about that, and starts to play the piano, and I think this is a song, The Last Dance, which is a duet together, and actually I think this is the part of the movie I'm looking forward to the most. Like, this image has been my phone background for a while now. However, this is one of the lyrics, which translates to, I don't want to hurt you this time, and Lou sings it, who is the singing voice of Ladybug. Now, I think the most obvious implication is that she's starting to fall for Cat Noir, but I'm not so sure. I think it's more of she's realised Cat Noir has feelings for her, but she has feelings for Adrian, so she doesn't want to hurt him. But I'm not so sure. Adrian seems a lot quieter in the film compared to in the show, so perhaps Marinette ends up leaning more towards Cat Noir as the film goes on, and perhaps she rejected him earlier, so she's hurt him before, but this time she's more reciprocal due to how Adrian is towards her, hence why I don't want to hurt you this time because I hurt you that last time. And finally we have Bas les masques, or Down the Masks, and I think this is going to start with Marinette at home, perhaps about to get ready for the ball at the opera house, but then she sees this and for some reason she's taken out her earrings, but then she puts them back in and she's like, oh, it's on.
It's go time.
So it seems the cause of this is this. Gabriel Babe sends out far too many butterflies in this final showdown, so part of me is thinking that perhaps Ladybug and Cat Noir did manage to defeat the hot magician, big chin mime, croissant man, my husband, and useless balloon dude, and he's like, well, alrighty then, guess it's my turn, and at home I think he possibly akumatizes himself to be more powerful. The sheer force of these butterflies pushed Ladybug back, but somehow a lot of fires started, which Adrian sees, so I am a bit confused of what the exact power is. Maybe Gabriel Babes went cat blank themed and went for some destructive powers possibly, not really sure. The epicenter of it all seems to be the Eiffel Tower, with fires there as well and these clouds swirling above it, because of course it's the Eiffel Tower. Has this monument not been put through enough?
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
So Ladybug and Cat Noir join up, but something happens, I would assume during a fight with Hawk Daddy, that lands Cat Noir unconscious and in the water. Ladybug dives in to save him and drags him out, but Hawk Daddy then shows up. Thankfully, it seems Cat Noir isn't out for long, and he activates his cataclysm and goes to fight his dad. Perfect. They fight, and I think Cat Noir injures him. As you can see in this top quality image that shows the back of Jeremy Zag's head far more clearly than the screen, this figure looks a bit like an adult-sized character, possibly Hawk Daddy, bent over and in pain, and to me this looks like blonde hair, so Adrian. I think Hawk Daddy, assuming this happens, will retreat at this point, so again, not an outright win, but they do have the upper hand. I would assume the ball is then cancelled and rearranged for another day so that they can repair everything. Like, I'm not sure if the Miraculous Ladybug actually exists in the movie. I've seen no screenshots of it. Like, we have a lot of screenshots, and none so far, unless it looks very different, none so far have shown me any evidence that the Miraculous Ladybug actually exists in the film. So Marinette arrives at the ball, let's say a couple of days later. Other classmates are there, but she's there for her date with Adrian. I would assume they dance together, have fun, and he offers to walk her home and they dance outside again. And then the film ends on this to be continued screen, which was posted and then deleted, but I got the screenshot before the common sense hit this person. But usually for something like this, it would need to end on more of a cliffhanger, rather than just Adrian and Marinette dancing in the snow. So Cat Noir does truly injure Hawk Daddy. I think the ending of the film could be Gabriel Babes now alone in his lair, or maybe with Emily or even Natalie, assuming she knows what's going on in the movie as she does in the show, vowing to destroy these two teenagers while the cataclysm spreads over his body. So now let's do some little extra theories about the love square in the movie. And big question here. Do they get together in the film? I want to say yes, I really hope they do. However, since Adrian seems to be so reluctant in the movie, I feel like the focus is going to be more on Lady Noir. Plus as well, the chapter title of the finale, Down with the Masks, I do feel is a very big, obvious hint at an identity reveal in the film. So assuming I'm correct and the big fight is before the dance, perhaps the reveal is at the fight and they attend the dance as a couple, or perhaps since it's supposed to be a masked ball as we see other people wearing masks, that is when it happens, and this final moment in the snow is when they get together. What I kind of hope happens, and this is just my own personal headcanon based on my own selfish desires, is that during the fight, Adrian's identity is revealed accidentally, and Marinette finds out, they go to the dance together, and then in the snow, Marinette reveals that she is Ladybug to him, but I have zero evidence to back it up. I'm just being selfish. Although, just a note, I'm assuming this movie starts in September, the start of the school year, if Alia is new to the school, but there's snow at the dance, so December? Do 4 months pass during the film? Really not sure. So like I said, in my opinion, even though I do personally prefer Adrianette, I think Lady Noir will be the bigger focus of the movie. They kind of hate each other at first, but then Ladybug saves Cat Noir, he starts to fall for her, and because Adrian is so reluctant and withdrawn towards Marinette, she starts to fall for Cat Noir too when they work together more. As for Adrianette, I still think it will be a big focus. Movie Marinette seems a lot less anxious around Adrian than she is in the show. She seems a lot more wary of everyone else at school, but not of Adrian, but Adrian seems so withdrawn, you know what I mean? Like, he just seems kind of really antisocial, which is fine, but like, he's very different to Show Adrian. However, similar to Show Adrian, he's able to be more of himself as Cat Noir, and Marinette is able to ask Adrian out without making a mess. So to me, while Adrian and Marinette are still recognisable from the show, they are quite different, and I also sadly think this means no umbrella scene in the movie. I'm really not sure about Ladrian, we have no screenshots of it right now, and honestly it doesn't happen in the show much, so I can't see it happen in the movie a lot, and we do have these Marishat screenshots. But I'm really not sure about like where they go. It looks like quite a desperate situation, but I'm really not sure when it happens. Towards the end of the movie, maybe? So I just want to touch briefly on the friendships in the movie, starting with Marinette and Alia. The girls seem just as close in the show and become friends in a similar way, but I don't think Marinette tries to get Alia to be Ladybug like in Origins, and I also don't think Marinette will reveal her identity to her. And if she reveals her identity to Adrian, which I really hope she does in the movie, I'm not really sure she ever would tell Alia in this retelling of the story, since Adrian can support her. As for Adrian and Nino, I don't think they're going to be as close in the movie as they are in the show. As I said before, Adrian seems super closed off, and while I think he likes Nino, and probably is the closest thing he has to a best friend, I don't think they're as close as they are in the show, sadly. So there are a few things I'm actually unsure about where they go. First of all, this guy, this weird octopus bubbler thing, I really don't know. Really unsure where he comes into play and when. I'm also assuming this octopus is to do with him, but even if it's not, I also have no idea where that goes either in the film. And speaking of villains, there also seems to be no evidence of Mayura or Cat Blanc. I get a lot of comments under my movie videos asking me if I know if they'll be in the film, and right now I don't think so. We've seen no evidence of them. However, we do know the Miracle Box exists in this universe, so maybe Mayura could be in the sequel, but I'm also not sure if Jeremy wants to go the Sentimonster route with Adrian or Felix and Kagami, who neither of which appear to be in the film either. I'm also unsure about these screenshots of Gabriel getting out of the car and going into this atelier. I would think it's in the first half of the film before it gets too serious, but I just really couldn't work it in anywhere into like the story I've made. And there's also this curious screenshot of Hawk Daddy holding Nuru. I truly don't know how it's possible. The final thing I'm unsure of is this clip.
Leave me alone, I wanna go home. I'm not the one that you wanted to leave.
So Lou is singing, so this is a Ladybug line. She says, "Leave me alone, I wanna go home. I'm not the one you want in the lead." But where this goes in the movie, I'm truly not sure. Like, is it from a solo? Is it a duet? Again, not sure. All I can kind of determine is that Marinette, I'm assuming this is Marinette rather than Ladybug, is upset. But other than that, I don't really know where it goes. So there you go, besties. A whole timeline of what I think will generally happen in the movie, plus some extra stuff about relationships. If you care, this took me a week to plan out, a whole day to write, and a whole day to edit, so you better have enjoyed the fruits of my suffering for a kids' TV show. The air dates for the movie are on screen, but of course I am lucky enough to get to see it tomorrow, so I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you. I wouldn't be in a position to do something like this without each and every single one of you, so thank you forever. I'd love to know what you think is going to happen in the movie, I'd love to know what you think about what I think is going to happen in the movie, and I'll see you in the next one.